What is going on YouTube? Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. I am your host, JoJo Speaks, on behalf from Faithful Warrior Ministries. I have to get that intro going. I'm sorry. I'm here, y'all. I am here. Thank y'all so much for joining me for this night of hot topics and social media and social commentary. I'm all over the place tonight. But anyways, thank y'all so much for being with me tonight. Jennifer will be joining us momentarily. And once she gets here, we'll get to all you guys' beautiful, wonderful comments. Thank y'all so much for being here. A couple things I want you guys to do before we get started. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big red subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. It takes less than a second to mash it. So why don't you go ahead and mash it? Also, be sure to press the like button. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know you are enjoying the content that I'm putting out on my channel. Be sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the hot topics we're discussing on tonight. Be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Last but not least, be sure to share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody out here know that JoJo Speaks is in these YouTube streets. Couple things also I want you guys to do. Check out my RuPaul's Drag Race episode review that I put out last week. I also did a review on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I believe this is season 16, and I did a review on episode 4. But I kind of went through how I think the season is going thus far. So I hope you guys check those videos out, comment, like, all that good stuff. Once again, love you guys for watching. We celebrated the life of two stars in particular whose anniversary of their passing happened this week. It's the 30th year anniversary of Selena Quintanilla's passing, and it's also the 6th year anniversary of Nipsey Hussle's passing. And so condolences to their families and loved ones, all of those who loved them. They're still being remembered. And speaking of Selena Quintanilla, her unaliver, Miss Yolanda Saldivar, she was up for parole this week, and her parole was denied. Her parole was denied.
Glory.
I'm not sure if there was, yeah, right. I'm not sure if there was any celebrations going on or whatever the case might be. I personally do not expect her to ever get out. I think parole comes up every couple of years for those who are eligible for parole. I'm not exactly sure how that does work specifically, but Yolanda Saldivar will not be getting out anytime soon, or at least from what we can tell. Jennifer, what's going on? You got here quicker than I thought you would, girl.
Oh yeah, when I don't have as much to do or complete, I think I did a really good job of setting myself up to be ready. It's like I get off at 8. So I did a really good job of preparing this time. So yes, very happy to be back.
Okay.
And you haven't gone through 3 topics already.
Wonderful. We're all doing. Anyways, I'm not even going to try to. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to move.
We just started the show
forward. Do we have? Yes. Do we have any comments to get to before we get into our hot topics, Miss Genesita?
Yes, Dustin says hi. Hello,
Hey, Dustin.
Dustin. And Miss Kim, she says, hey, J and Dustin.
Hey, Ms. Kim. Now, I just want to talk about this briefly. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but Ashley Darby was asked to pay tribute to Miss Roberta Flack by singing Killing Me Softly this past week. And here's my thing. Here's my thing. Please hear me out. She didn't sound nearly as bad as I was expecting her to sound.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that Ashley is not a singer per se. I mean, singing is objective to anyone who listens. And so not one person can say what singing is and what singing is not. She was not really going off key that much. She didn't sound like a cat in pain or anything of that nature. It was okay. It was what Ashley Darby could do, but I feel like, I don't want to say I feel like sometimes she's trolling us when she's doing these performances, but because it's almost like she knows what people think about her singing. She has to know. There's no way that she does not know what people's thoughts are concerning her singing. However, I think people like to bash her on her singing just to bash her because she's not a Whitney Houston, a Beyonce, a Fantasia, all these great singers. It's like, we all know that. we're stating the obvious here. We all know that. So let's either enjoy the performance and watch it, or ignore it and act as though it never happened. But Jennifer, you felt the need to send this to me in TikTok, although I had seen it already. What were your thoughts, and what were your reasonings for sending it to me?
Well, first of all, now that we've gotten this whole thing going with you making sure to check through all the things that I send you before we come here, I don't want to take any chances. So,
Right, I understand. I understand that. Yes, absolutely.
but
Because my ears really aren't to the streets like they could and should be. So I appreciate that. I really do. You do it for a reason, and I appreciate that.
and I think that's another reason why I've been enjoying this, so we can like come together on a lot of other stuff as well. I've enjoyed that.
Yes.
Um, but I sent it to you because of the foolishness. I never heard her sing before. I never thought that she could sing. That's how much I cared. I never heard her sing before. So me hearing this, I was
Wow.
like,
Well, you don't watch Housewives of Potomac like that, so yeah, I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that.
and while she was performing this song, she was not the one being killed. It was my ears. Okay. And it's like you can hear like an unsureness in her voice, but you can also see that she's trying to be like, I'm performing. It's like, I don't care how much you wave your hand, I don't care how much you do this and all that stuff. Miss Kim from Real Housewives of Atlanta is not going to make you sound any better, sis. Now, one thing I can respect, it does kind of sound like she might have employed a vocal coach of sorts, because she wasn't trying to sound exactly like Roberta Flack. I
Right.
praise God she wasn't trying to sound like no Lauryn Hill, because
Hmm.
Roberta Flack's hers is just really just sweet and
Soft and
calm.
demure.
Yes,
Yeah.
and which has its own benefits there.
Hmm.
But no. No. And and I saw one still of it. It looked I know the saxophonist wasn't looking like that on purpose, but they just caught him in a way looking like, what is going on? Why did Larry tell me to come on this? This check better clear. You
Okay.
know?
Yeah.
But I it was not great. Um At least I know that if what's her name, Candace, the girl not everybody likes too much that just had a baby. Is that her name? I can't
Candace.
remember.
Yeah, Candace.
I know if Candace was there, she would have sounded better. It might have not
Mm,
been perfect, but she would have
absolutely.
sounded much better. She
Candace
actually,
is actually a singer. Candace can actually
yeah.
sing. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure of it because a lot of people were making me laugh today on TikTok about it. So, so I made sure to send it on over, to see if that's something that you'd want to mention today. Miss Kim says, Ashley needs to stop it. Murdering a classic. She must go straight to jail. The who's cow for her. Absolutely. She needs to have a coffee cup doing like this on the bars because it was
Oh,
criminal. I didn't I
oh.
it could I know that there are ways that it could have been worse, but it was
Right.
still
That's what I'm
trash.
saying. Like, I was expecting it to be horrible. I was expecting her to be like off the note and, just sound terrible. But to me, it just sounded like karaoke. Like,
But no one's asking for her karaoke.
I agree with that. I
Um
can agree with that. Yes.
As Kim says, wasting that vocal coach, apparently, and wasting that vocal coach's time. Absolutely. But as long as she paying, that's what matters.
Absolutely. So I don't want to spend too much time on this topic, but it has been brought up quite a bit since he has taken office. So Donald Trump has been saying that there are methods for him to be able to serve a third thing with this possibly happening. I know that it is against the Constitution for any president to serve more than 2 terms. I know that he's probably going to try every single thing that he can try to do, any loopholes. But if there were any loopholes to jump through, don't you think that would have happened way before Trump came along? So my thing is, I think when they discuss it on The View, there has to be some type of vote statewide for it to be allowed if it were to happen. And I don't see that actually happening. I think like 3/4 of the country would have to agree to it, something of that nature. I'm not 100% sure, but with the way that the administration has been conducting business thus far, I only see people regretting their vote for Donald Trump, and I don't see how this the current state of the administration can turn into a third term. I just don't see it happening in any way, shape, or form. Even if it was constitutional, I wouldn't even see it happening that way. But Jennifer, are you nervous about a possibility of a third term from Mr. Trump? And then we're gonna get off of Donald Trump after this, I
Yeah.
promise.
Child, no. And the reason why is because so many people that voted for him are so upset
Right.
by his actions and what he has let happen. A lot of the people are talking about how they're upset, with the muskrat, how
Hmm.
they're upset with the tariffs. They don't feel like they're doing, this country any good with all that and everything that they're cutting back. Um, and even those red states, a lot of the red states
Hmm.
are not benefiting at all from this, and their constituents are having to speak up for the state, which
Right.
is which is sad. So I don't see any of that happen. But what I saw, what was funny, there are still some that's still under the power of the Kool-Aid,
Right.
and and they were talking about it like, yeah, he should do it. Oh, okay. Well, what if Obama runs against him? It's like, oh no, he can't. He shouldn't be able to do that. I
Of
thought we should be
course.
able to go for a third.
The double standard is crazy when it comes to the MAGA people. It's crazy.
Because they know,
It's
because
on
they
another
know.
level. It's on another level, like
There
literally.
there are people that voted for Trump that voted for Barack Obama. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it's like, that's crazy. But that's enough on him. Um,
absolutely.
God
Oh,
bless America.
and it sounds like Elon Musk might be on his way out the door. That is just the rumor. Donald Trump said,
Yeah.
he has to get back to, running his businesses and, all that good stuff. But Elon came out and said, he's not going nowhere. So
Okay,
it'll be
girl.
interesting to see what happens. It seems like, there's some blood in the water when it
There's
comes to that
so much
situation.
conflicting information
It
because I
is.
saw in this all in the same day. I saw somebody saying that he's on his way out. I saw somebody saying that he's already out. I saw somebody saying that this is not true. It's like there's a whole lot with that. But yeah. Yeah. Miss Kim says bad karaoke. Okay. And she also
Right.
says, please God, no, I have had enough of that clown. And she says, the racist double standard.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And just to stick with politics, just for one more story, Cory Booker, he did something historical this past week. He filibustered for over 24 hours in a protest against the Trump administration and all the things, the
Ciao.
many, many, many things that they are doing. And do you know whose record he broke? He broke Strom Thurmond's record. Strom Thurmond previously had the
Wow.
record when he was against civil rights being passed. And so it's so amazing to me that a black man broke the
Wow.
record of a racist man trying to stop civil rights, trying to stop equality.
Yo.
A black man coming up against a racist broke the record of a racist trying to come up against
Wow.
black people. I mean,
Amazing.
that's just
I
it.
did not know that.
Everything. It is everything. It really is. I got that information from the View. Thank you, the View. The View be on it with them politics. That politics
Okay,
talk, child.
blessings unto them.
Um, and I had never known what a filibuster was until Millie on Scandal had to filibuster for some type of law or something of that nature. I
Oh
can't
yeah,
remember
she had to stand
exactly.
up there. She wasn't
Right.
prepared. Yeah.
Yeah, she was taking off her shoes, doing all that stuff. She was doing something to hold off on something actually happening. I can't
Yeah.
remember like what season it was. It was like 5 or 6 or something like that. But she was a senator from California. and she filibustered. And so I don't know exactly what the course of action is when it comes to someone who wishes to filibuster, because I feel like if it was just a free willy, anybody could do it any time, we'd have filibusters right and left and right and left. So I'm glad that he was able to do what he did. I don't know what the effects of it will be per se. I don't know if it will lead to any change.
Time will
I
tell.
don't. Right. I'm not exactly sure. Well, I know what his intent was. His intent was to speak against what is happening in our government at this point with this man who's in the White Office, in the White House at this time. But I am proud of Mr. Cory Booker, and I'm so glad that he's one of our loudest voices in the Senate at this point, and it's amazing that he does what he does so unapologetically. And I tip my hat off to Cory Booker for
Mhm.
doing his thing. Jennifer, what were your thoughts on this filibuster, historic filibuster?
Some people have felt, kind of wishy-washy about Corey, but this really does say something. This speaks
Hmm.
loud. Ms. Kim says 25 hours. Cory Booker did that. And
Yes, he
that's what
did.
he absolutely did on those days. Dag nabbit. Um, so I think it's amazing. And I believe that it's really showing up. There's something that passed because they got Republicans' help on it. Something against what, I think something stopping the tariffs or something?
They voted to stop the tariffs, and I think Donald Trump ended up signing an executive order for the tariffs, anyways. So I
Yeah.
think the vote went through, and then he signed the executive order. I think that was the
Mhm.
process of events. I think that's what
It's
happened.
but it's like all I can keep on thinking about is, like, even the people that support Trump can't even explain how this is supposed to be better for any of us.
Right,
Everybody keeps on trying to say that, "Oh, yeah, it's gonna be better in the long run." But this has happened before in history. It didn't make things better.
right. I believe the last time we had an issue with tariffs, it had a great impact on the Great Depression, and so it's I'll keep on wanting to say it's crazy to me what he's doing, but nothing he does ever surprises me. Ever. Nothing he does ever
Foolishness.
surprises me at all.
Miss Kim says Melly Melly did not prepare the way Corey prepared.
I can't even remember how she prepared, Miss Kim, but I want to tell you,
Well,
I
she
was
wasn't prepared. When
yeah,
she
no,
went up, she
she
didn't prepare at all.
yeah. Millie, I was the biggest fan of Millie watching Scandal. I loved Millie watching Scandal. Not that I had anything against Olivia, but I just love Bellamy Young's acting as Millie. She played it perfectly with
Yeah,
perfection.
it was good.
Um, and I love when she eventually had the love interest in Marcus, the African American activist that came along on the latter seasons of Scandal. I wish they would have gone a little bit further with their storyline, but I'm the biggest fan of Millie. Like I'm Team Millie all day, all
Mhm.
day. Girl, that moment when she told Olivia that she had done it with Marcus, and she said she cried while they were making love. It's like I understand, Miss White Woman. I understand that you've experienced the magic of the
A blur.
of the magic stick, honey. Okay.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I'm so very proud of Cory Booker, and yeah, it's great what he's done, and I hope that this encourages others to speak out. I hope, because there's kind of there's kind of a disconnect when it comes to how people think that Democrats should be fighting at this moment. Some people
Mm,
think that Democrats should be loud and boisterous, and sort of kind of act like the Republicans in a way. Others think, well, maybe they should just, sit back and, just let them do what they do. It's like, because to me, like, it seems like neither one of those options would work. Like, because if you're loud and
exactly.
boisterous, like, is it going to change something? Like, is it going to be, because they know what the Democrats want. They know why they are against a lot of the things that are happening in the White House right now. And so it's like, is there anything that they actually can do? It's like, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. For people to say what people should be doing is a bit much. And a lot of times it's like they do their best to make their moves, but I believe a lot of it is on us. Are we voting? Are we making sure that, we're taking care of things? Now, it is awesome to see what happened in Wisconsin. Um,
Yes, yes. Mr. Cheesehead want to put on that cheese on top of your head, trying to cater to them, Westconians or Wisconsin people.
Wisconsin,
Like you
yeah.
really like that's something Trump wouldn't even do.
I truly think they were surprised that it happened the way it did.
They were, and plus Elon Musk put so much money behind him, and it's like,
Child.
it ain't gonna work your way every single
Child.
time. It's really not, and it also I think shows how much power Elon Musk doesn't have, because I think, excuse me, I think Donald Trump thought that America would love Elon Musk because he's so rich. And that's the only reason why he loves him, because I think he thinks that's the reason why people love him is because he's quote unquote rich and he's quote unquote a
Another
billionaire, but
businessman.
another businessman. Exactly. But that's clearly not the case. Clearly not the case. But
Child.
anyways, for those of you who were wondering about Sean Kingston and his federal wire fraud
Do you
trial,
believe there was a lot of people wondering?
probably not. But I just wanted to say real quick that he was found guilty. He and his mother Janice Turner were found guilty on their wire fraud trial. So I don't know what's going to happen, whether they'll go to jail or not. So be it. Whatever happens, happens. They
Because
knew what
they've
they
been
was
doing it for
doing.
a while.
They have been
Because
doing it for a long
ain't no
time,
way that Beautiful Girl song gonna carry you for millions
because
and
that was
millions
his
upon millions.
one and only hit. That was his one and only hit. But the thing is, like, when I think about Sean Kingston, I think like, well, Boosie didn't even have that big of a song, and he's still rich off of whatever it is that he's gotten. But he also gets money in other ways. So
Exactly. And he
yeah,
also tours. He also, because he's on a Millennium Tour right now,
hmm
Boosie.
yeah,
And it's like you haven't really heard a whole lot from, Sean Kingston being on anybody's tour and stuff like that. He's just been
no,
around a lot of people that got money, and
I
he's just acting like he got money, and they basically rolled doing that, acting like he got money.
I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's what happens.
Mhm.
New money, honey, new
Okay, Miss
money.
Kim says, I wonder if Elon stopped payment on those checks he gave out. Child, I never believed. Can I tell you how I feel, Miss Kim? I never believed he was planning to give that money out anyway. I believe those people were paid way less than $1 million to say, thank you, I got $1 million.
Right,
I
like
bet you that
that
in
was
maybe a couple of years, when whatever NDA runs out,
right.
oh,
Yeah,
we're gonna
yeah.
find out for sure.
Right. And my thing is like, how much popularity do you think you have if you have to bribe voters to vote your way? Like when you have to go that far, it's like, what are you doing this for? Like what is the reason? As I think
Child.
Cardi B said, what is the reason? Like that it just it's crazy to me that we've gotten to this point in 2025 where we feel like we
Mm-hmm.
have to bribe voters to vote for our candidate. It's crazy to
Just
me.
foolishness.
It is absolutely. So federal prosecutors are expected to give Luigi
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Magione. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what it's called.
Magione, the penalty for the unaliving of the CEO Brian Thompson. Um,
Okay.
Now he can't be sentenced by the state of New York with that, because the New York does not have the unaliving penalty. Can
Mm-hmm.
I say the D word? I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I just leave it away.
New York does not have the unaliving penalty. And so a federal prosecutor kind of overstepped and said, "Oh, we want to charge him with this unaliving penalty." So and to me, and this is a Trump appointed federal attorney. So
Mhm.
I think that they're doing this for popularity. I think that they're doing this
Mhm.
because this is a huge case, and they feel like, oh, well, if we do this, and they'll say that the Trump administration did something great, and it's like, no, me personally, I'm not against the unaliving penalty. I'm not necessarily against
Mhm.
it. However, I do feel as though life without the possibility of parole for me or to me is just as bad as an unaliving penalty, because you know you're never getting out. Like either way, you're not getting out regardless. But for me, as far as I'm concerned, I feel as though life without parole is just as bad. Now, if someone I loved were unalived, and the perpetrator was given the unaliving penalty, I would not be against it. I would be, "Oh, okay. Do whatever you want to do, as long as they never get out. That's all that I care about. That's all that matters to me is that they're never out on these streets to do this to another family." So I don't feel as though, me personally, I don't feel as though he deserves the unaliving penalty for his crime. I feel like the unaliving penalty should be strictly for those who are like mass unalivers, or serial unalivers, or people who do like really like terrible things like terrorists and things of that nature, like the most
Mhm. Just
egregious
mass
of
situations.
crimes, like mass crimes. Those I am cool with the unaliving penalty, but I personally, just in my humble opinion, don't think that Luigi deserves to be put to unaliving for his crime. I think life without parole is just fine for him. Jennifer, what were your thoughts when you heard this news?
I I I kind of believe that they want to try to make a statement.
Right.
For all we know, people have been paid a whole lot of money to make sure that they make this one look as bad as possible so nobody else will try to think about doing something like that again.
Mhm.
But we will see. We will see how this turns out. And once again, it's like just stuff like this you can see coming from a mile away. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting, but we'll see where it goes from here. It's really interesting to me though, with all the evidence that they have against him, that he still pled not guilty. Like that's just it shouldn't be surprising to me because that's what a lot of defendants do. However, it's still
To be
it
honest,
boggles my
I
mind.
don't think it's on him. I don't think
Mm,
he was the one that said, "Let me do not guilty." Something tells me that something is amiss. That's all I got to say.
wow. Okay. All right. Understandable. So this story may not be as well known, but it was sent to me via TikTok, and I thought that it's we're still in politics, child, and it's 30 minutes into the show. So apparently, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson
Oh,
was allegedly spotted on Grinder, which is a very popular dating app for the gays. I use the quotes dating app because it's really mostly a
just
hookup app.
sex.
Yeah, just sex. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if we have really any dating apps, but anyways, for me, it just looks a little fishy because when the person who was supposedly speaking to Michael Johnson asked for a picture, and he just sent a picture of Michael Johnson. Like for me, it's just kind of hard to believe, but it would not surprise me if it were true. For those of you guys who do not remember, during the Republican National Convention, Grindr shut down twice in the state and city where the convention was actually being held. So it would
Mhm.
not surprise me. And also, Mike Johnson's wife likens the LGBTQ plus community to those who are into bestiality and those who are into like what is the incest and things of that nature. It's like they're on that side of the fence when it comes to the
Mhm.
LGBTQIA plus community. And I also want to say this. I know that it seems to be a common thread that a lot of people feel as though those well, men in particular who are quote homophobic are gay themselves. I don't necessarily believe that. That
Not
could be
all.
true for a lot of them. I can say that could be true for a lot of them. Like I don't think Boosie has a gay bone in his body whatsoever. Like I just
I think
see
he
it.
just saw a lot of stuff in jail
He
that, like,
right. That
messed
it
him
just
up.
traumatized him. And
Mhm.
for a man who grew up the way that he did, that's just so against his frame of understanding. It just made no sense. So
Mm-mm.
for me, it's like, for homophobes to me are just that. They're just homophobes. And a lot of times that just has to do with religion and people's religious theories and things of that nature. And so but it would be interesting if this could be proven to be true that it was Mike Johnson. Now, of course, there would have to be a lot of investigation, and I don't think people would dedicate any time to actually
Oh
investigate
no.
as to whether this was Mike Johnson or not. But I thought that this was an interesting story. Jennifer, were you surprised when you saw this come across your TikTok screen?
Me and Miss Kim feel the same. A Republican on Grinder. I can't believe it. So yeah, I just sent it to you because I knew you would know who that dude is. So
Right.
I just made sure to send that. But um, I believe if they ever made public who's on these sites and stuff like that, and if more people were speaking up about who they have been with from these sites, I truly believe there'll be a lot of commotion going on in the city.
Yeah. 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 And I think a lot of our politicians would not be reelected. Let's just put it that way. I
Well, shoot, Lindsay got reelected over and over again. It'd be all right.
But that's still at the end of the day alleged because he has never actually come out at the very end of the day, Jennifer. That is simply alleged because until that man comes out and says, oh, comes out with the rainbow flag and is waving it on TV, it's we still I'm using quotations. We still don't know. We still don't know.
Child, even the Caucasian folks out here in the streets, they
Okay.
they just they thinking the same. Like,
Well, when I saw RuPaul have a Lindsey Graham character in one of his acting challenges, I said, "Oh, okay, uh, oh, okay, okay," because I didn't expect to see that. I did not expect to see that,
well,
but it's
I
like because
mean,
no one has really with the exception of here and there, no one has really like put him on blast like that, like that. Like
oh
that's
no.
kind of like an undercover type of thing where it's just something that we all know allegedly.
No, I say it's a known rumor. How about that?
I love that. I love that. It's a known rumor. Excuse me. So last week we spoke on Marvin Sapp, uh, excuse me, asking for his ushers while he was at a convention in Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken, to close the doors. And he was trying to collect $40,000. And he was on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show earlier this week, and he said, you know, that $40,000 that was not for him. That was to pay for the convention, for all of the funds that were needed for the convention. That was the reason why he needed to collect the $40,000. And me personally, last week I was thinking, you know, maybe that was for him to get his check because you know if he don't get his check, you know, he's gonna be like, I came up here for nothing. But Marvin went on to say that he has been receiving unaliving threats. People have been coming to the campus of his church, threatening and things of that nature, calling his church, threatening and things of that nature. And I can't say that this surprises me because this does not surprise me, especially when there's a huge story like this, and especially against someone who is religious. I'm sure most of those threats were coming from people who don't even know who God is or aren't anywhere near or maybe have never been to a church.
No,
Maybe some of them have.
I think in both the bulk of them know who God is. They just don't respect or condone what happened at that church. Or
I
excuse me, at that convention.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's probably true as well. That's probably true as well. But I do think that it is sad that we've come to this point where we are threatening people's lives for doing things for doing things such as that. Now, you know, of course, to me that was a bit egregious. You know what I'm saying? Just you know, seemingly forcing people to stay on your campus while you're collecting the offering. To me, that you know that should not be happening whatsoever. However, I don't think that should participate or cause for someone to threaten your life. I don't. It's not that serious, y'all. It's really not that. It's really not that serious. You act like Marvin Sapp threatened those people's lives, and so you're threatening his life because he's taking up an offering. Like to me, That's so unnecessary. To me, it's just so unnecessary. And the fact that they're threatening his life, that's what made me believe that those are not Christians that would do that, because although Christians will do some crazy things or
Okay,
some
that's what I'm
things
trying
that
to
you
say,
wouldn't expect
Jonathan.
them to do,
You can't exclude them.
I completely understand that. However, I think it's so sad that he has to deal with that. However, I'm not surprised that it ended up happening, because we're in a culture currently. I don't know if we'll ever get out of that. We probably won't ever get out of cancel culture. But I mean, actions have consequences, and it comes with the territory. Now, I guess it just comes with the territory. Jennifer, were you surprised that Marvin Sapp was receiving unaliving threats as a result of this resurfacing of this video that happened a while ago?
I'll start by saying Miss Kim's comment here. She says, "I worked in event planning. Marvin Sapp is full of it. Convention expenses are paid in full up front before you get on site."
Because
So,
they wouldn't be in
Jonathan,
that building if they had not paid the bill. But hey, that's what Marvin said. That's what Marvin said. So I'm
and
just relaying the
this is
message.
why. Well, no one, I don't care who you are, deserves any kind of threat on your
No,
life. Let me just say that out loud.
right.
No one deserves a threat on their life, no matter what it's for, no matter what they're doing. No one deserves a threat on their life. That's something that's up to God to be doing or whatever. He'll take care of that. But I had a problem with the whole situation, Jonathan,
Right, of course.
because like we talked about last week, us as churchgoers are so desensitized
Mhm.
to what happened there and how that could be a violation to anybody if you say and close those doors. Close the doors. You're not moving until it's time. And this was at the end of said situation that they were in at the moment, said
Right.
session they were in at the moment. It was at the end. Of course, you're at a big old convention center. People are going to want to try to get out so we can get to our cars and also so I can make my way to Golden Corral.
Okay.
And you want to keep people in the doors so they can give money.
Hmm.
In my opinion, what makes you think people are going to give you money if you decided to just keep me in here, hold me hostage to
Right.
raise some money? Um,
Black folk at that, because to me, in my opinion, I would think black people, that would cause them not to want to give. But hey, proceed.
but also on top of that, Jonathan, um, it just goes back to us being so brainwashed into what is okay in the church.
Right.
So for him to get online, because he knew he had to say something, people said
Of
Ricky
course.
and Marvin, they are very good friends. So
Mm.
he decided to, say something on his show. I don't believe they expanded their thought process to people outside of the church, because it
Right.
makes you look kind of crazy to think that is okay for that. I believe that he just doesn't like the fact that everybody's coming against him for what was done in that space. I just think that's all that is.
Mm.
Um, Miss Kim says, unless church events are handled differently, I've never planned a religious event. You, but it's this,
If
Miss
it's
Kim. It's the
convention center, it's the
same
same thing, Miss Kim.
same convention centers. It's the
Yeah.
same, yeah. And even if I'm sure it's something that need to be paid on the back end because it had to be done
Right.
immediately and they haven't raised enough money. More than likely they were on the last day of whatever convention or service that they had, and
Or
he said, okay, we need to get some
and
money.
whatever, how many ever other days that they were there, it's like, but I get that it doesn't make sense, because
Yeah.
if you didn't pay the bill, y'all would not be where y'all at right now. So
Miss Kim also says threatening his life is unnecessary.
it is.
People are taking things too far, and that's the only part that I certainly do agree with. We don't it's pointless to be threatening, but I've scrolled through so many TikTok videos of people saying like they wish they were there to be able to combat those kind of words. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Th-
But they would have been shut down.
You sure?
They well, because you know it might have started an uprising.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like,
Because when one person has the heart to do something, that enables others to be able to follow suit.
and see that's the same kind of mentality that people see that the church people have that makes you believe that they don't have their own thought process at play here.
Hmm.
I'm just doing what I know to do. He
Right.
said to stay. I know I ain't gonna give no money, but I'll just stand here and appease the man of God.
And make it look like I'm going in my wallet,
I
or
wouldn't even,
make it
child, I
look
wouldn't
like
even
I'm
do
putting.
that. But I'm just happy that I'm not in situations like that anymore.
Right.
Any churches or any organizations that are working that far outside of their budget, $40,000. I could see if you're trying to
That's a
raise it.
lot.
I could see if we're trying to raise like another 1,000. We just need to get to this last little bit. This
Right.
drummer needs to be paid. Y'all help us do this real quick. We get on out of here.
Because
And
40,000 sounds like the whole budget to me.
exactly, exactly. So it's difficult for me to have a sympathetic ear in this.
Hmm.
So he does not deserve his life to be threatened.
No.
But I see why people are having adverse uh, uh, conversations and feelings about what happened and how it happened.
Agreed. Agreed. So this past week, our least favorite stunt queen, Mr. Kanye West, he did
Sure.
an interview with DJ Academics, and he did this interview while dressed in attire that resembled the Ku Klux Klan. However, his attire was in all black. He had a black hooded
Oh,
hat on,
Jesus.
and his face was covered. And it's like, okay, so he's taking Drake's side on this whole Kendrick Lamar Drake thing. Like that's crazy to me because it sounded like he was on Kendrick Lamar's side while it was
He
going
was
on.
at
But
first. You want to know what happened, Jonathan?
what happened?
He got pissed off that he was getting all that Kendrick Lamar was getting all this notoriety.
Yeah, and he
He
wasn't getting no notoriety.
exactly Kendrick because I don't know if you remember, but he said, "Dot, I got you." On one thing,
Yeah.
something tells me that he was under the impression that he would get the call immediately. Come join me on this song so that we
Okay,
can.
hop on my album. Yay.
Okay, okay, hop on this a track with me,
Okay. Like
and
Kendrick
no,
don't
that didn't
need
happen.
you, Kanye. Clearly, he got to the Super Bowl without you, man.
And that's the sound man. That man, he a Kendrick, he a prophet. He know what not to be doing.
Okay.
He ain't playing with y'all niggas.
Okay.
And
I need me a husband like Kendrick Lamar. Like for real. Like when I tell you me watching Kendrick perform at the Super Bowl and the way that he was
child,
jigging and dancing, like I saw my man in him. Like I really
yeah, yeah,
did see
yeah.
my man in him, Jennifer. Like for real, for real.
His aura is something else. He,
It's on another level. Like it's
yeah,
on another
yeah,
level.
yeah. And I knew there would be no way. Of course, I don't hold my breath. Don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
but it's like, okay, that's nice that he's supporting. And then now he's so upset about it. And no, because you're not in the light, nor are you in the light with him. He couldn't even come to the Grammys without having somebody or something to put him in the light. Because if he would have came by himself, or if she was fully clothed,
No
nobody would have
one
said
would
a
care.
word.
No one would give a
Okay,
rat's ass, as
okay,
Judge Judy would say. Okay.
okay.
Or rat's behind, whatever the case. Nobody would care. Period. He also, and then in response to that, DJ Academic said that sounds a lot like jealousy. And then Kanye went on to say, God was jealous. God is a jealous God, and I'm the closest thing to God. It's
On this earth, I
like,
said this.
like it's to me, it's like I honestly don't think that Kanye believes the things that comes out of his mouth. But on this, at the same token, I really think he believes the things that are coming out of his mouth. Like he really thinks he is that guy. Like he really thinks that, and it's so concerning to me because I used to I've never been the biggest fan of rap or Kanye for that matter.
Mhm.
However, to see his decline from where he was to where he is now, it's just it's crazy.
I
And
feel this is what fame and notoriety can do to an already fragile mind.
agreed, agreed.
Like, I see he was fragile in the beginning, and being up here for so long,
Right.
taking a good 10-year or so ride, like a Nikki,
Hmm.
and when you're no longer there and you see people come and go, you see people come and go, and then you see people rise up
And pass you.
and surpass you,
Right.
and then you don't have as much notoriety, and now he's in a space where what he was doing to get notoriety after no longer having it, that's
Hmm.
no longer working, because the young kids were hanging on to him
Right.
because of the crazy stupid stuff he was saying and doing with his clothes and things of that nature, and now he doesn't even have them. So now you're gonna have costumes, costumes, and say every famous name you can speak of come out your mouth. Is
And it just reeks of desperation. It
yeah,
reeks
man.
of desperation. And it's just so sad to me that this man who has all this money, all this fame, all this notoriety is pushing for more and more and more of it. It's like you got it already. It's like, what are you fighting for? What are you
It's like I don't even
I
think
don't
it's
understand.
about.
And that to me makes it more believable that he really does believe the things that he's saying.
I don't think it's about him trying to get more of it. I think he's just trying to get back where he was, where people would actually say his name. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Get
Right.
because
Right.
back when he
Yeah.
was, even when he was doing that rap thing, I miss the old Kanye, whatever Kanye, you know what I'm saying? When he was saying that kind of stuff, he was still
Right.
up there. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
now
Now he's
he still
basically a
has to be a,
non-effing factor.
yeah,
Like
yeah. And he still
reality
feels the
is.
need to be in the forefront, and
Yeah.
he's unraveling. Um, let me see here. Um, Miss Kim says Kanye is so lost. He takes no accountability for his actions or choices. He,
No,
he's
not at
even
all.
he's even speaking negatively against his family and stuff. Of course, he's saying any and everything, and it's like all I could do is just is I'm nervous, and I just feel sorry for North. We
Agreed.
we have seen her love for her father, and seeing how her father's talking about her mother.
Hmm.
It's just real sad. She's still a child. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
it's just so sad to see that. Um, but what I'm concerned about, I know he wouldn't take his own. I believe
Right.
others are trying to help him.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
that's that's what I feel.
Hmm.
Different camps, and because it's like at this point now you're just a liability.
Very much so. That's why don't nobody want to work with him. And his only fan is Diddy at this point. But hey, it is what it is. Um, so this past week, I saw something really sweet
What you saw?
on Instagram. Waka Flocka made a video of saying that him in his older age, he feels like he's gotten soft. And he wants a lady friend. He wants somebody to hold. He wants somebody to lay up next to. He don't
Child,
want
he
no
just missed his
thought.
ex-wife.
But hey! I'm telling the story here.
Oh,
He
sorry,
don't
sorry.
he don't want no thoughts. I'm trying to speak up for the man, Jennifer. You ruining my moment here. Um, because I've had a thing for Waka Flocka since he first came out. I remember seeing his face on the cover of a magazine, and I was just like in love with that man's lips, and like just so it's so beautiful for me to see a heterosexual man in the rap game to be so vulnerable and say something that isn't the most manly or masculine. He's saying, and I guess he prefaced that by saying he was getting soft because he knows that is seen as soft. But I don't know. I just love seeing that, and I know that he misses Tammy. I know that's exactly the reason why he was saying that, because he wants his wife back that he probably cheated on her, 50, 11 million times. But and that's alleged, because I don't know their business. But I was that just touched my heart, because I just loved seeing the vulnerability of a man and a man in the spotlight, or who has been in the spotlight rather, to be able to be authentic enough to share that he wants his woman back. That clearly was a video for Tammy. Clearly was a video for Tammy. I saw that from a mile away. But that just surprised me that he felt the need to put that out there. I'm like, he must have want her back pretty bad, huh? He must want her back pretty bad. But shout out to Waka Flocka. I see his hairline is going back though. I saw his hairline is getting back there, child.
Miss Kim said Walker can find a lady in MAGA.
I was not aware that he was that if he was a MAGA supporter, but
He
hey,
absolutely did support out loud. He was one of the many black men saying that he supports him. So
wow, wow.
that's where
Well,
he,
I
and
should.
it was like, we know he ain't gonna get Tammy, and now we know he might not get any other black self-respecting woman.
Okay, maybe,
All
maybe he
right,
can find, maybe he like white girls. I don't know.
shall
But
I guess?
anyways, I want to spend the last couple of minutes talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I did release a review on the most recent episode 4, earlier this week, so you guys go check that out, like it, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff with it. But I did want to speak on a couple of points that have been brought up this season thus far. First of all, Portia has an issue with Drew working with her baby's daddy Dennis on Drew's album. The album is actually out now. I don't know what it's called. I don't know how many songs are on it, but Drew
Go
has
ahead.
put out an album, and Dennis was apparently the executive producer of said album. Now, we are in Atlanta. I know that that's the mecca for Black music, or at least it seems to be the mecca for Black music at this point. So it's like, out of all the producers that you could have reached out for, you got this man who sells hot dogs, and we've known none of his accolades in the music industry, if he were to have any accolades in the music industry. But Portia, in a couple of different confessionals, is like, I don't care if she's working with Dennis, and it doesn't affect me. But then, in the same token, she feels the need to address Drew about it as if it were a problem. And she's also in her confessional saying she's interfering with my relationship with Dennis. And it's like, this is
How?
one of the many reasons why I do not care for Miss Portia Williams. I've never seen it for her. I can't say that I never liked her, because I don't. There's no reason for me to dislike her necessarily, in a personal way. However, she looks like a hit dog hollering. She looks like a hit dog hollering. When you say you don't care, well, if you don't care, then why is it a topic of conversation? Why do you have to ask her about it? And then, when she's talking to Dennis about it, and Dennis says, well, we're just working, and he asked her, do you think we're sleeping together? And she tells Dennis, well, you're saying something completely different from what Drew was saying, when Dennis was saying the exact same thing that Drew was saying. We're just working together. That's all there is to it. And also, Portia had a big issue with Drew wanting to film with Dennis. And she says, you can't be filmed with nobody else on this cast. She got in the car. The mic was still on, so we heard her. She said, Dennis, if you film with anybody on this cast, it's going to be a problem. So to me, clearly Portia
What you
cares
gonna
about
do?
this issue. Like, exactly what you're going to do. That to me shows me that Portia wants to be in complete control of how she is perceived on this show. She doesn't want any type of anything that even reeks of negativity coming towards her. She wants to stop it before it starts. And it's like, girl, you've been in this
But it's
reality TV show game for years now. You know how it goes. You know somebody gonna get you if they want to get you. So you just got to be ready for the gotcha.
see, this is what I believe if she would have just said, "This is happening," I think it's one or two things. I do think she really is bothered,
Yeah,
but
she is.
a part of me kind of wish it were that she was just putting on to have more attention on the show. Um,
That's what I
but
want to feel. That's what I want to feel, but I don't feel it at all.
but if Drew was more open and maybe more of a girl's girl, it would have been nice for her to at least try to have a conversation with her. It sounds like Drew was scared to have a conversation with Portia.
She did text her on a number of occasions. She told the confessionals the
Mhm.
dates in which she reached out to Portia. She tried to call her. Portia said she was in some other country and she was busy and she couldn't. So Drew did reach out to Portia to
Oh,
speak to
well
her about
then.
it, but Portia did not give her the opportunity to have the conversation.
Well then. Life goes on. Oh gosh, and now I know she really feel away because she kicking herself for like not even trying to have the because she wouldn't have been blindsided. Dang nabbit.
And
Drew
Drew did tell Dennis, like, make sure you get with Portia because she ain't listening to me. So, make sure you get with Portia. And I have a feeling Dennis brought this up to Portia. Maybe Portia didn't believe that it was going to happen for real, for real. Maybe she wasn't expecting it to
and
happen
now
because she
she
doesn't know, what Dennis does musically. I still don't know what Dennis does musically.
apparently he
Even though,
did something because
right.
I've heard I haven't heard the music, but I've heard that it is pretty good.
Yeah, Alexander Rogers did a review, I believe, on
Mhm.
the album. He said he liked two of the songs. I think there are 12, 11 or 12 tracks on it. He said, a couple of the songs, did get him up and dancing. So, it obviously wasn't that bad.
It
So,
wasn't trash.
yeah.
But yeah, it's I can't say Portia was ever a favorite of mine, but I am disappointed because what just like you said, Jonathan, she should know how this all this runs. Like, why you acting so surprised? Why are you so upset? Why?
Like, see, and Drew has never been the type of girl to try to intentionally shade someone unless they've shaded her to begin with. Like, Drew is
Agreed.
not a Kenya Moore, or Drew is not like, one of those other housewives who,
She
is
is a
the one who is the
liar,
instigator. Yes, she is a liar. She does not have a good relationship with the truth. However,
but
she isn't one
mhm,
to intentionally try to come at someone for no reason.
yeah,
Drew, everything that Drew does is for a reason. And so I don't know why Portia doesn't understand that Drew's just not that girl. Like, she's not filming with you to get under your skin. She's filming with you because she has an album to release.
Miss Kim says Portia is so bothered. She's a jealous, low down bird. I have never
Okay.
liked her.
Never. Me neither, Miss Kim. I've never liked Portia. Never liked Portia. And also, while they were at this dinner on the most recent episode, Shamia, her best friend, Shamia played a song for her that she was going to release. And the first thing that Portia said is that a Drew song? That don't sound like you, Shamia. That don't sound like I don't think that's you, Shamia, on there. That sound like Drew, and it's
What is that to say?
like, and the thing is, Shamia had nothing to say in response. And my thing is, like, Shamia, you had all this energy for Angela, for what I feel as though was no reason, but your so-called friend on the show is shading you about this new music that you're so excited about. But the first thing that Portia says is some shade or a read, and you have no response, and you're not holding Portia accountable for what she's doing. Go ahead, Jennifer.
I think it's because it's nothing new to her.
And to me, it's like, if it's nothing new to you, why are you still friends with the girl? Like, what do you get out of this
I
friendship?
think I think it's just like that pretty girl and not maybe she doesn't feel as pretty. I don't
Hmm.
know. But it's like I feel like it's a situation where Shamia came up like they were friends
Right.
and Portia have always had these dreams of being, marrying up.
Hmm.
And she had Cordell and that didn't work out. She had her child and then she you know just is a single mother, with a man that has a hot dog situation, which is, it's out here, it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Hmm.
um but then she sees her friend go beyond
Right.
her. I mean, beyond her.
Way beyond her.
A man that's getting his money with the utmost of legitimacy.
Portia still hasn't filmed at her house yet.
Cause you can't.
Because she can't. Exactly. She lucky she able to film in that Rolls Royce that she got. But hey, that it is what it is.
And it's like Portia never saw her as the girl that would be able to do that, which is why she had her as a friend and kept her as a friend
Mhm.
so she could stay down there.
And
But when
keep
she
her under. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
and when she
Yeah.
surpassed her,
Mm-hmm.
now it's another situation. That's something up to Shamia. And then what makes it even worse, Jonathan,
Mm-hmm.
Shamia surpassed her in another way on Real Housewives. They're centering the show around Shamia, not Portia.
Clear.
Portia thought this was about to be the Portia show.
Exactly. And that's the reason why I didn't want to watch the show. But when I saw the first episode and they started out with Shamia and her whole mansion tour, I was like, oh, okay. I think I can get into this, honey. Okay.
And because that's what we needed, something new and fresh. I'm
Right.
sure that I'm sure the producers bought Portia back simply because a lot of people love Portia and they want to see her,
Mm-hmm.
but they bought her back so they could see Shamia.
Right.
Child.
Yeah.
Um, that's really a story. A lot of people need to really look at that situation and learn from it.
Right.
That friend that downplays all the stuff you have,
Downplaying
downplays the fact
on
that
a
you got a Rolls Royce and now all of a sudden Portia got a Rolls Royce too.
right.
Okay. Ciao. Miss Kim says, do you see the way Portia is talking throughout the song while it played?
Yes.
Just disrespect. Because ooh, Jesus. Because Portia tried to be a singer too.
She did. Absolutely. And Shamia is a better singer than Portia. I'm putting it out there. I don't know if there was any auto tune, any type of hanky panky going on with that recording that Shamia played, but Shamia did sound better than Portia.
A
Not
lot
to
of
say
people are saying the same.
right now, Portia. I will say Portia is a better singer than Ashley Darby, but not
Oh,
by much.
ciao.
Not by much. At least not in my opinion.
Yeah. So God bless. But yeah, I'm wondering how long is Portia going to be able to keep her cool. I believe she's been keeping her cool. Yes, she's been shady just to make it, but
Hmm.
I think she's going to lose it eventually because things aren't happening for her. And once again, I think that's just another story. Like, just look at her life.
Yeah.
Look at the way she's doing and look at her mother as well. She's going to be friendless,
Hmm.
manless, and
Hmm.
moneyless.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mark
Hmm.
Jennifer's words.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because that's why her mama always at her house. She ain't got no business to be with because
Okay.
you a mean, petty woman.
You get it from your
Speak,
mama.
speaking negatively against everybody around you. Nobody's good enough for your daughter. Okay. You'll find that nobody's for your daughter, period. You'll see.
Okay. And nobody's for you. Clearly.
All right. Yeah. People really need to put Portia as a study because if she was just nicer,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
she I think if she was better towards Shamia, if she was a better person in general, I
Hmm.
believe that she might have been able to sidestep somebody that wasn't intertwined in illegal activities for their riches.
I think Portia came onto the show. I think she was 31, if I'm not mistaken, because I saw her on an interview with Wendy Williams when she first joined the cast. And I feel like Portia had this vision of what her life would look like before
Oh
she knew who she
yes.
was. She
Mm-hmm.
got married before she knew who she was. And I think Portia thinks that her fans tell her who she is. And so she tries to live up to that. And when it doesn't work, what are you left with?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
I,
Nothing.
that's another thing too. You're right, John. She needs to find herself.
She has to find herself. She has no identity at all. Portia don't know who Portia is. Portia, and when you get notoriety and people treat you a certain way because of the way that you present it to them, they don't know that what you presented to them is not who you really are. And so you try to amplify what you presented to them. And when you can't keep that up, you start to flail a little bit. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
now
So
it becomes a problem, and even seeing those trips that she's had to Nigeria,
mm,
um, with Portia, it's not with Portia, with Phaedra.
mm,
I'm not saying that they're whores, but it looks like they're being like, shopped. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I'm happy that wait, Phaedra, no, she's not the one with the boyfriend. That's Quad that actually got a man.
Quad, yeah, quad.
But Phaedra's in the same boat.
Oh yes,
So
absolutely.
it's like they out there trying to find somebody rich that's gonna want to marry
But
them.
you know what's crazy? Phaedra actually plays the game better than Portia
Oh
because
yes,
I
because
think Phaedra actually knows who she is.
well, there's
Now
a difference with Phaedra.
she does have a persona, a TV persona. However, I do think in Phaedra's real life, she knows who she is, and I think
She
she's
also has
confident in that.
degrees.
And she has degrees. Yeah, exactly. She's actually established.
Yeah.
So for me, Phaedra plays a better game, even though I don't care for her. I've never cared for her. But,
Mhm.
Portia just seems lost to me.
Yeah.
And that's an issue when we, as the viewers, can see that you don't know who you are and you clearly don't know what you're doing. And she's playing the game like she's new to this reality TV show shit. It's like your slip is showing, baby girl. Your slip is showing.
And she pissed off that somebody's doing it better.
And it's white and it's laced on the ends.
Ooh, child. God
Yeah.
bless her.
Anyways, thank y'all so much for joining us this evening for my Hot Topics and Social Commentary chat. Jennifer, any more comments before we get on out of here, girl?
Oh no, we're good.
All right, go ahead and give us your social media contacts if you please.
I am the light of the Leo, connected with Faithful Warrior Ministries. At the light of the Leo is my TikTok, Instagram, as well as my YouTube channel. Go ahead and visit I at the light of the Leo. You'll be able to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We do go live every single Monday at 9 p.m. to decompress. And every Saturday at 10ish a.m., we come together on Faithful Warrior Ministries. In
Mhm.
Faithful Warrior Ministries, we have a good time of just enjoying each other's presence, doing a little bit of laughter, but also taking some time to read a devotional and pray. So once you join us for that, that's every single Saturday at 10ish a.m. We go live no matter what, because we are faithful in what we do.
Yes, absolutely. You guys can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is JoJo_speaks3020. My Facebook is Jonathan Lee. My email is williamjonathanlee@gmail.com. My Cash App is $Jonathan Lee 07. That's $JonathAnlee 07. Once again, that is JonathAnlee 07. Thank you guys once again for joining us. Join us next week, same time, same place, same beautiful faces. I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. Stay warm out there. Stay good out there. Eat good out there. Love you guys for watching. See you guys next week. Bye,
Bye. They don't
guys.
have to stay warm. It was 80 degrees today.
It was. It was. Yeah.
It's real difficult to not to be warm. Okay,
Right.
bye, y'all. Turn
Bye,
on your
y'all.
air.